The following is a production of ProDubShuns.com.
Rock and roll live.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I am Doug Vincent. I am a polio survivor. I've been walking on crutches, or I was walking on crutches for about 50 to 55 years, and then about 10, 15 to 20 years ago, kind of started transitioning to a wheelchair, full-time in a wheelchair now. And my co-host is Eric Aguilar. How are you, sir?
What's up, everybody? I'm Eric Aguilar. I have cerebral palsy. I'm hard of hearing in my left ear, and I'm a walking stick user. How you doing, folks?
So right off the top here, I want to say thank you to everybody for our 1 year anniversary. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for listening. Had a couple of episodes that we were able to put together, just kind of highlighting some of the highlights of the last year. You know, for me, Eric, knowing it was a year anniversary, that was one thing. But when it sent us a message and said congratulations on 50 episodes, that is what really kind of hit me. I mean, that really sounds like a significant number. The fact that we did this every week for a year, you know, I feel like that's a very substantial accomplishment, and we thank everybody for their support. Thank you for listening to the anniversary show. Very tough to pick out, you know, which ones we were going to use, because we had 50 episodes. There's no way we could get something from every one of them. And there's some people that I got to thinking later that would have really been good in there, but you know, we'll get them in another way and highlight them, because they were just fantastic episodes where people, I wasn't quite ready for it. You know, I knew this is what I wanted to do and have people on and have them tell their stories, but I'm overwhelmed with the people that were kind of apprehensive to come on and tell their stories, and then they reveal some things I thought they never would have revealed. I was almost afraid to ask them some of the questions about what I knew they had gone through, thinking they might shut down, but they went to places that I didn't anticipate. So I, like I say, want to thank everybody, guests, listeners, everything. So, any thoughts on that?
Thank you so much, guys. Let me tell you, I love you guys to death. Woo-wee! And let me tell you, it's been a real cool year for the both of us, and let me tell you, I am very proud and very happy to be a part of this. I would never trade it for nothing else in the world. There were a handful of episodes that I liked, and certain guests we had on, I listened to their stories during the show, and I'm like, oh man, I've known you for years, and I didn't know you.
You're right.
It's like I saw a different side of them, you know, whether it was a close friend or somebody we're meeting for the first time. I'm just blown away every single time. And like the one episode we did about fishing, I try not to listen to that one as much, because the truth, to be honest, Doug, that one always makes me hungry if I would talk about fish.
Very good. You like your fish. Oh man, that's good. So also, I feel the same way. You're right. And we know, you know, because we've really started to gather a lot from our friends, and we're starting to reach out past that now as I get some guests on and they will recommend somebody else. But a lot of this started with the people that were in our circle. And like you say, we've known them for years, and then we get in here and we start really telling their story in more of a long form. I'm realizing I didn't know. I mean, I kind of figured I didn't know everything, but there's some significant parts of it that I didn't know.
Heck, even my backstory wasn't revealed or brought up for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Because me, when I came on, you know, before that, it was quite a mystery that was never asked.
You know, and you don't walk around. Nobody walks around and, you know, somebody says, how you doing? You say, I'm fine, when you may not be fine. And, you know, you might be struggling with some aspect of your disability. You're not going to go into a long thing about it. But so that's what I like about this. You know, we almost give people permission to talk about those things and go into those things that they don't really get the opportunity. And I hope this is my hope, that in doing that is some good therapy for both of us, you know, the people telling the stories and us that are hearing it. So we went to the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival. We had Andrew Skinner on a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us all about it. So we packed up everything and went and saw and listened and participated and interviewed So we got a bunch of interviews from a bunch of different vendors that were there to support them, and they have programs and services that they provide on their own. So we give them an opportunity to talk about them, and hopefully we'll get some of them on in more of a long form interview as well, because we had maybe 5 to 10 minutes to talk to them. But at the sports festival, you name it, they had scuba and rugby, wheelchair rugby, and wheelchair basketball and baseball, and they had hand cycles, and they had the Omeo that we talked about a little bit with Gretchen Nowling here a couple of weeks ago, the kind of the Segway-based technology in a wheelchair, and they had those out there. So all of these things, people could actually try them. They could try rugby for the first time. They could try basketball for the first time. They could get on a hand cycle for the first time. They could try the Omeo, not just look at it or look at it in a catalog. They had all that stuff out there that they could demo. So we'll get to those interviews here in just a little bit. Anything else you wanted to add to our open here?
And what's really cool about the show is the segment between you and me. I tell everybody all the time, you're the captain of the ship. I just bring all the energy and the comedy, and we're basically just two guys working off each other.
I like it, and it does work. All right, so we've got Aguilar Professional Training as our sponsor once again. We start a new year, and they have come back and supported us. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
All right. Woo!
Introducing Aguilar Professional Training, where we believe your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is crucial for the success and growth of your business. To reach new heights, you need to hire smart, talented individuals and empower them to work in their areas of strength and passion. At Aguilar Professional Training, we're dedicated to helping your employees become happier, more productive, and fulfilled, because when your team thrives, your business thrives. We can help your workplace work better. We offer customized workshops and one-on-one coaching to help teams and leaders build trust and have better communication. We also offer strategic planning sessions, among other services. Elevate your team with Aguilar Professional Training.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Eric Aguilar. Welcome back. I'm here with my co-host, Doug Vincent.
We went to Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival. Like I say, talked to a lot of people. And first up, we're talking to a couple of the folks from Rolling Start, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Doing good.
How did you find your way to Rolling Start?
I started as a consumer. I actually went to it was an office next door for people taking care of relatives' kids. I went there, and they referred me to Rolling Start, and I checked it out. And then I signed up for the Living Well class with Cynthia and Nina and Joanne, and they asked me, what is the goal that you want to get out of that? And I said, I really want a job. I said, that was my goal. I haven't worked in a very long time. Nina, one of the other coworkers there, and Joanne, my supervisor, they really went to bat for me, and they managed to hire me, even though I didn't have much of a job experience at all. I didn't have much education at all, and I feel like they really took a chance. I really feel like I'm indebted to them.
So have you been doing this position?
Wednesday will be 1 year at this position. Wednesday, May 1st.
Congratulations.
My 1 year anniversary.
And so tell us a little bit more about what that position entails.
My main job is I help people if they want to apply for the CalFresh, which is the food stamp, the food assistance program. I assist people with Medi-Cal if they want to apply, or if they do the recertification or have any problems. I help as much as I can with that. The general relief, not too much, especially in San Bernardino County, but I get some people out of Los Angeles, so I help them with the GR. And once they get Medi-Cal, I've helped people find primary care doctors and stuff like that they need, the medical ride, the different things, and just basically anything that they require assistance, I do whatever I can.
Do you feel that it helps you in your position to be a person that is a wheelchair user, seeing that Rolling Start is an independent living center, and so you probably deal with a lot of our participants that are in wheelchairs?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I could see, especially the ones that were newly injured that don't have a long time. I have a little bit of time. I have 33 years, so yeah. I see the newer ones. I see kind of myself in my younger days, and I try to help them out, because I didn't have a lot of help sometimes. It wasn't a lot of help.
Yeah.
I think there's more help now available than there was back in the early 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I kind of know what they need and what would help them out. So I kind of, especially with maybe I pay a little favoritism for the people in wheelchairs, but I try to help them out a little more because I can understand their situation a little bit.
Understandable. And I'm sure just seeing you, with a job and those kind of things kind of gives them hope.
Yeah, I mean, without sounding a little conceited,
no.
Yeah, they. I've had a couple of people who are newly injured, and they, didn't know it was possible.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They kind of, some people, they start to get in that bad routine of sitting in the room all day, staying up all night, sleeping all day, and then I just that's kind of my main goal: get people out of that dead end road.
That's great to hear that, Richard, because a lot of times on Walk and Roll Live, we talk about some people that have had incredible achievements as a person using a wheelchair, triathlon champions, multi-champions, and all of these different things. And after a while, I started to realize that we're talking to the people that have made that transition, and they've excelled as a wheelchair user. But there's so many people who maybe, like you say, they're in a room, sleeping, playing video games maybe, and that's all they're doing. And they've lost hope. So, to have somebody like you that's an example and you can show them there's another path is awesome. So we appreciate what you do. All right, I'm going to kick you out, and I'm going to bring your colleague in here from Rolling Start. So tell us your name and your position.
Okay, so my name is Cynthia Robles, and I'm an independent living specialist with a Rolling Start.
Beautiful. So what does independent living specialist do?
Oh, my goodness. We kind of do everything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We find resources in our community. We help people sign up for Social Security. We do the energy assistance program. There isn't anything that we do not do.
Housing, employment.
Housing,
right?
Those are just like a tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Even with employment, we can help them with resumes, helping applying for jobs. Some people just call to find out, where's a center, like the IEHP Center,
mm-hmm.
Where they can go and get classes for free.
And that wellness program.
And the Wellness Center in Victorville for the homeless shelter.
But the program that Richard was talking about, living with a disability.
So that's one of our classes.
That was through IEHP, right?
That was through IEHP, yeah.
So how much does all this cost?
It's free. We're a nonprofit.
Is that right? So people come in and they can get all these services like what Richard was talking about.
Absolutely for free.
And no charge.
No charge at all.
That is awesome. So how do you start that process? Somebody comes in or
someone
calls.
has to have a disability.
Okay.
And it just has to be self-diagnosed. It doesn't have to be medically documented.
You don't have to bring in a doctor's
You don't have to
note.
bring in anything but yourself. And we do an intake, and then from there, we do like wraparound services.
Mm-hmm.
So I will start, maybe with just an energy assistance program, and then we find out later that they might need Medi-Cal or CalFresh, and they also do recertifications. They can even, try to get a card through the county, their Medi-Cal or their EBT card that's maybe been lost. They do that electronically. A lot of stuff is done over the phone electronically.
Yeah.
It really is wraparound services for just about everything that we do.
We had a guest on a few months ago that was talking about, signing up everybody for digital connectivity. Mm-hmm. Throughout the state of California, the program is going on. But that's the very thing that they talked about is that, they want to make sure that people are connected because so many of the services that are going to be provided in the future are going to be, it's all going to be electronic, that you sign up for them, that you manage them and all that. So, yeah, we're getting ready for that. So you talk to us a little bit about the support groups.
So each and every coworker in the office has some type of support group. I have a co-ed support group where it's men and women. They come in and we just talk about, I really don't have an agenda for it. I like people to come in and feel free to just talk about whatever's going on in their life.
Yeah.
So that's how I start my support groups. Our other coworker, Nina, she does the game day, and she does these amazing games. Sometimes she has prizes.
Yeah, and food.
And food.
Yeah.
Richard actually started the food.
Yeah.
Richard has the...
Yeah, and at our office and also on Zoom, once a month, I have a wheelchair user support group.
Mm-hmm.
And if you come in person, I usually have pizza, sandwiches, something, trying to bribe people to come into our meetings.
Yeah.
But a lot of people attend through Zoom, and it's not only wheelchair users, but anybody is welcome. And we have a really good time. We talk about a lot of good issues. And I've been in a wheelchair myself 33 years, and I'm still learning new things all the time. So if anybody was interested, we'd love to have you.
I've been disabled for, to say this out loud, 67 years. So, and I'm still learning things, and I really started to, being involved with Rolling Start and doing this podcast. Yeah, I'm not too old to ever stop learning, so.
Yeah, I'm
one last thing before I let you go, maybe Cynthia, you can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious about the advocacy too.
So I like to teach people to be able to advocate for themselves when it comes to either the insurance companies or against Social Security or just speaking to their doctor.
Yeah.
That's something that we all need to teach each other. But I also will do a conference call if somebody wants me to speak to someone.
With an agency?
With another agency.
Okay.
It could be the Department of Aging. It could be Community Action Partnership. Whoever they need assistance with, be more than happy to do conference calls with them.
Very good.
And I put it in my schedule.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you. So how do we get hold of Rolling Start?
So there's two ways to get a hold of it. We
Okay.
have a website at rollingstart.com.
Okay.
And also we have two offices.
Okay.
We have our headquarters office, and that's in San Bernardino and Hunts Lane. And then we have a Victorville office on Victor Street.
Very nice. And the phone numbers and contact information is on the website.
The phone number
right?
is for Victorville 760-949-7626.
And then San Bernardino.
San Bernardino 909-890-9516.
Thank
Come
you,
and
guys.
visit us.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
As we continue our highlights from the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival, next up is Nam from UCLA, and he tells us more about the program that they have going on over there. Very interesting, intriguing.
So my name is Nam. I'm with UCLA Department of Orthopedic Surgery. My title is Community Access Navigator for a new program called Prescription to Play. And Prescription to Play aims to bring equity to sports medicine care for disabled athletes. So what we did there was kind of start an adaptive program akin to the one that was started at University of Michigan, where we train up our orthopedic doctors, our fellows, residents, on specifics of sideline care for adaptive sports, and then we send them out to adaptive sporting events, and then they have like the full-on medical coverage like you would at any other sporting event.
Wow, I'm trying to wrap my mind around that. That's awesome. That's awesome. So this is provided for the organization to have that service available for their adaptive sports participants?
The end goal is to have this new service line at UCLA Health, where we help cater to people with disabilities. One part of it being in the athletics spectrum, right?
Okay.
So one of the quick wins we were able to do, with our organization was kind of get our sports med kits together, our kind of sports med team and protocol together, and start sending our teams out and start forming these partnerships with different community organizations. So we're partnering now with Angel City Sports.
Different adaptive sports organizations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But eventually we want to be able to offer some inpatient alternatives to people with all levels of mobility issues, right?
So for individuals, this is more geared towards individuals. Okay.
Yes. So let's say if a person had a hip replacement, or knee surgery, we can prescribe them some adaptive sports.
Yeah.
And to keep them active, and as with people with disabilities are the largest minority in the world, and anyone can become a part of that minority anytime.
Anytime.
So we want to have that option for them. That kind of light at the end of the tunnel, you can be involved in sports, introduce you to the community. We can tell you about different sporting equipment, and help put you in contact with different vendors and resources to kind of get you set up.
Can you talk about maybe the kind of maybe you did anticipate them, but anticipated other effects and positive effects that somebody getting into adaptive sports has on other parts of their life?
I think it kind of gives people, besides a great sense of community and stuff, it gives them a new bill on life. Just purpose. I think a lot of the times you see people when they experience a life altering accident, they fall into a depression like everyone does, right? Yeah. And just having the notion that it's not the end of life, right? It's just a new chapter, is huge. And I think it's important to be able to introduce them to that perspective early on. particularly in the healthcare setting.
Yeah.
So when
mental health too is a big part of it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if someone comes in, and they had a spinal cord injury, like not long after they're inpatient, we can tell them, oh well, here's all these adaptive sports resources in case you want to try out these activities.
And then they kind of make that leap on their own. That if I can do this, what are the other things I can do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not the end, right?
Yeah. So some other things too. I was wondering, are there particular kinds of injuries that are specific to a disabled athlete that may not have been seen by, another physician that mostly sees able-bodied folks?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so a lot of times, medical schools and health institutes, they train their sports medicine doctors to treat able-bodied athletes. When you're dealing with a wheelchair athlete, for example, you're going to have some different manifestations. You're going to have a lot of overuse injuries, right? Because, they're using the same muscles just to get around all day that they're using, to play the sport.
Same joints, yep.
And then you have, like in spinal cord injury patient, autonomic dysreflexia, which could be life-threatening. And, if you don't have appropriate sideline care in an event, with a spinal cord injured person, and they have a bout of AD, it could be detrimental. There's even been anecdotes of providers that volunteered at some adaptive sporting events that have come across instances like this, and they kind of froze because they know what to do, right? So we want to kind of really educate our providers and how to provide for everyone.
So you're at the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Expo today. What kind of conversations are you having with people?
Just networking. As you know, it's a close knit community. So seeing a lot of old friends, watching the festivities, participating in some of the activities.
Yeah, excellent. Anything I missed that maybe you want to share about what you do?
No, I mean just look forward to more good things from UCLA. We're really pushing our adaptive sports initiative over there. We have a new disability studies major on campus. It used to be a minor. And so they're doing some more studies, just on the UCLA campus now about meta mapping and make sure everything's accessible. So, I think we're gaining a lot of momentum there on campus.
Excellent. And if somebody is listening to this and wants more information, who do they contact? How?
If you want more information, you can go to the UCLA Committee on Disabilities webpage, or you can go to UCLA Orthopedic Surgery webpage, and you should find everything you need there.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
Continuing our highlights from the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival, next up is USARC. We're talking with a young man who will tell us exactly what that means and all about the programs that they offer.
Yeah, so my name's DJ Horner. I have been the programs coordinator for USARC for about 6 years. Started as a volunteer about 11 years ago. Basically, my job entails programming and development. So I look at sports and things that are out there that we could do in the mountains, and we create ways to get people out doing them. So our organization encompasses a number of different activities. The longest activity that we've been doing is skiing and snowboarding. We have a great partnership with Big Bear Mountain Resorts. So we offer skiing and snowboarding, mono skiing, bi-skiing. We actually have snow skis now that even allow people as high as like a C2 quad to be able to come out and use a joystick or a sip and puff to ski on their own. Our goal is getting equipment to allow people to be as independent as they can be to help meet their goals and create active, healthy lifestyles of getting out there and getting involved. So
tell us real quick, you say USARC, which is, it's an acronym, and it's easy just to say that, but let us know what the acronym stands for.
Yeah, it's the United States Adaptive Recreation Center, and we're based out of Big Bear Lake, California.
How long has this been in existence?
So this is actually our 35th year. We've been doing snow skiing basically all 35 of those years. About 5 years in, we started doing our summer sports, which is everything water related. We have a lake up in Big Bear that we do adaptive water skiing, kayaking, fishing, sailing, tubing, paddleboarding, a little bit of everything on the lake. This year, we're kicking off our mountain biking, so we'll be doing that as well in the summer. And then for individuals with cognitive disabilities, we also have Summit Base Area Adventures, where we have access to like a rock wall, a tubing hill, a zip line, a bungee trampoline, the sky chair, some hiking trails, that type of stuff. And
wow!
And we're constantly working on ways to just make it more accessible for everyone.
I was going to say, from your brochure, there's several pictures of all the different things that you offer. But I mean, I think you listed 10 more.
Yeah, we're constantly trying to offer more and provide more opportunities for people. So
that sounds like you guys were way ahead of your time.
When we first started, we were one of 3 organizations across the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, because, on Walk and Roll Live, we talk with people with spinal cord injuries all the time. Mm-hmm. And, and some of these folks they're 30 years in, and we talk about their experience when they first got injured. And there wasn't even, help like a peer support to come in and talk to them in the hospital. That was fairly new at the time. And you precede that by 5 years. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And even more than that, I mean, medical technology has just come so far. There's almost no such thing as a complete level of injury anymore. Like, the nerves are regrowing every day, and they're how far they've come in the medical industry is just insane. And then we just take all of the advantages of that and we teach them how to play with what they got.
Yeah. I like it. So I noticed there's quite a few different adaptive equipment for snowing or snow skiing alone.
Yep.
So that's for all the different levels. And I think one of the newer ones is for the quad I've seen, like outrigger skis, where they sit and they have somebody behind them that can kind of help control them if their level is pretty high.
It depends on how much you want to get into it, but we basically have equipment to support any level of cognitive or physical need, whether that's able-bodied stand-up skiing, to balance, strength aids, something like outriggers that have like Canadian crutches with canes on them.
Yeah.
And then we have, as far as when we're working up the spine, so anybody who is in a wheelchair more than 80% of the time, generally we end up putting them into one of our sit skis. The most independent sit skis are mono ski. It has one ski underneath, and then again those outriggers, which are like Canadian crutches with skis on them. Somebody with some core and full arm strength can become completely independent in something like that, on and off chairlifts, pick themselves up. They really don't even need a buddy with them. And there's a lot of independent mono skiers that we work with, including plenty of people at this event here.
Yep.
And then just working our way up into the more involved. Anybody above like a T4 level of injury, somebody who doesn't have really any core, some kind of arm limitations, we can put them in something called a bi-ski. It's got 2 skis underneath, and by using their arms to push themselves laterally back and forth, they can become pretty independent in a bi-ski. Working from there, we also have what's called a snow cart. It's got 2 lever arms, so somebody who's like a C8 or above that still has some arm function, aka mainly the bicep. It's got 2 lever arms, and we can use, through the use of active hands, we can attach their hands to lever arms. They can ski it independently like that. Above that, we have the Tetra ski, which is one of, I think, 18 in the world currently. Through the use of electronic actuators, the skier can ski it with the use of a joystick or a sip and puff. So as little as their breath, or as do a little bit of everything.
The people that work there, do they have to be trained on these things before they can?
Yes, yeah. So our organization's a bit different than most. We have a staff of we have 4 year-round full-time staff, and then we have a seasonal staff of about 4 to 6 or 8, depending on the season and who we can find to come up and work for us. And then we have a volunteer staff of about 100 that allows us to really mitigate the cost quite a bit for our program. To give you an idea, our program charges for a full day lesson less than a regular person's lift ticket. And that includes equipment for the day, that includes lift ticket, and that includes private instruction. And sometimes that private instruction is 2-on-1, depending on the needs of the participant. So,
are you funded through a government program, or is it all fundraising?
We have a few fundraisers throughout the year that definitely help to support our overhead, our admin, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then we utilize grants through a number of different organizations. Specifically for spinal cord injury, it's mainly Christopher Reeves and Craig Nielsen. But we use those to acquire a lot of the equipment it takes to be so specialized and keep everything super safe. I would say that those are our 2 main sources, are our big fundraisers. Like I said, we have 3 throughout the year, and then grant funding, and then obviously private donations and things like that, estates that like to give money. So,
And I imagine these programs are year-round.
Just
Pretty
about. We have a couple of seasons or a couple of months of downtime in between our summer and winter season, where we're waiting to either have the snow melt so that we can do mountain biking,
or the snow to come,
or the water to warm up a little bit so that it's actually suitable to be in. Just things like that. So our spring and fall, we're looking at other activities down the road and the pipeline to start offering more things in those fringe seasons as well. We're looking into things like adaptive archery, adaptive shooting, hiking is a big one. There's a lot of hiking trails around Big Bear, and we're exploring all of those options currently. So down the road, we're looking to offer all those as well. So
sounds good. So is there any openings for any volunteers?
Absolutely. Yeah. Being that we are primarily volunteer run, we are happy to host as many volunteers as want to be there, honestly. To give you an idea, during the winter time, we pretty much work one-on-one or two-on-one with our students. So you get a very personalized, you get to know your student. You get to work with them all day, see their growth, their progression, that type of stuff. And then in the summertime, it's not quite so personal. You're not working one-on-one with people. To give you an idea of how our summer program works, it takes about 7 people to get one person water skiing. So, and that's 3 staff members and about 4 or 5 volunteers, depending on the level of injury and how involved it is. So,
before I let you go, how do we get in touch with the United States Adaptive Recreation Center, USARC?
Yeah, of course. So our website is usarc.org. We have a video up there that shows a little bit of everything that we do. It's like the first thing on the landing page there. You're also free to follow that to our phone number, and we do almost all of our reservations via phone call. We're happy to talk about it. We love what we do. So if you have any questions, anything like that, our number is 909-584-0269, and we're happy to answer any questions there. But feel free to check out the website. It's got a plethora of videos and fun things on there. We're also looking at expanding into adaptive off-roading, which is a whole nother avenue that we've kind of dipped our toe in.
You mean like motorsports?
Motorsports, like side-by-sides, Jeeps, trail crawling, desert runs, all that type of stuff.
Very nice.
So we have an event every year in April where we have a bunch of side-by-sides that come out, and we allow people to buy a seat to go for a ride. And then also, if you have your own rig, you're welcome to bring that out and go out on trail. We got a full rescue team of EMTs and recovery personnel that keep everything safe. So,
are these able to be driven by somebody with disability?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few of our tour drivers are actually folks that drive their side-by-sides with hand controls. This year it was really awesome. We got support from Blaze Racing and Chris Blaze. If you don't know the name, he's actually in the professional racing circuit for side-by-sides, and he's a para. So and he races and competes at the highest level of off-roading with using a wheelchair and hand controls. So.
Nice. My eyes lit up, didn't they? All right. Well, thank you, DJ, for stopping by. We appreciate it, and thanks for coming out to Triumph Foundation's Wheelchair Expo.
Awesome. I love being here.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
Well, we were hanging out at the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival this past weekend, pushing the limits of your ability. So many fun things were going on there. Hand cycles and rugby and scuba diving and basketball. And those, what do you call them? Like it's a platform that has tracks. Like a bulldozer has tracks, and you can get your manual wheelchair up on it and clamp it down, and then you can go anywhere. It's indestructible. So they were letting people try those out. There was baseball. What else was? Oh, there were just so many different things that you could check out, and we got a chance to talk to a lot of good people that were there supporting them. Next up, we have Angel City Sports on Walk and Roll Live.
I'm Alexis Madrid. I'm with Angel City Sports, and I'm the Chief Development Officer working on raising funds for our organization.
Thank you for stopping by Walk and Roll Live. We're here at the Triumph Sports Expo, Wheelchair Sports Expo. What are you bringing today? What are you talking to all the participants about?
So we're grateful to be here having a booth at the festival. We are talking about both our year-round programs across 5 to 7 sports that we have monthly clinics, as well as premier events. So we have 5 premier events multi-day, multi-sport days, all ages, youth, adult, veterans, providing adaptive sports for those with physical disabilities and visual impairments.
So you're basically doing what they're doing here today at Triumph year round.
Yep.
Very nice.
And, Triumph has more of a focus on spinal cord injury.
Yep.
So we're serving above and beyond, spinal cord visual impairments, spina bifida, cerebral palsy, limb differences. So really anyone with a physical disability.
Like this is a one-time event for a weekend.
Yep.
So you offer the things that you offer for these different disciplines, like on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, or how?
More monthly. Some
Okay.
sports are twice a month. So the sports that we offer year-round include wheelchair basketball.
Okay,
So the first and third Saturday of every month, we have wheelchair basketball. Within that clinic, we also have a women's wheelchair basketball team. So we're the only women's wheelchair basketball team in the state of California. And actually, our team is in Fort Wayne, Indiana for nationals this weekend. So we have wheelchair basketball. We have adaptive fitness. We have air rifle, adaptive golf, and then we're going to be adding swimming, track, and field. So they happen usually a cadence of once a month. Yeah.
And where are you out of?
So our administrative office is in the Howard Hughes Center, Westchester, Playa area. Our sport programs are kind of throughout LA. So we're at the Westchester Golf Course for our adaptive golf program. We have our wheelchair basketball program in Studio City, adaptive fitness in Van Nuys.
Okay,
A little bit.
spread
And
out.
yeah. And so we also recently acquired a summer camp in San Diego. So we're trying to expand a little bit beyond LA. It's a youth summer camp. So we'll be 2 days at Mission Bay doing water-based
That
sports.
sounds horrible.
rough life.
Right.
And then 3 days at Miramar College doing very similar to what we're doing here at Triumph.
So what's going to go on at the camp?
So they learn different sports. They have counselors. It's a day camp. So on the water-based days, there'll be kayaking, sailing, tubing, pretty fun stuff that you don't get to always do. And then when we're at the college, swimming, tennis, lacrosse, rugby. So more land-based, but...
Let me ask you, there's adaptive equipment that helps people with disabilities to try the different sports. But one of the big barriers can be, a kayak. How do you get the kayak to the place where you're going to use it? And, how do you get it, you in it and it in the water?
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you addressed all that?
Yeah, so we're pretty fortunate. We have a pretty great community with camp that we're talking about specifically with kayaking. One of our volunteers, this is very personal to them. They've been water people and they have kayaks and they store them. Their daughter was involved in an accident and became paralyzed.
Gotcha.
They knew exactly, they were very familiar with kayaking to begin with, but then how they needed to make adaptations. So talking about, if you are paralyzed and don't have like the full strength for balance and different things, playing with how high or low you sit in the kayak. We feel like we're pretty adaptable and knowing how to adjust and be flexible to the different disabilities because everyone is different.
Everybody's different,
Even if you have a same or similar disability, that being able to, whether it's play basketball, kayak, whatever, we can customize it so that it works best for that individual, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I know one time, I don't know where I saw this, on the internet, but it was a kayak launcher, I guess you would call it, where, you put the kayak in it and then, you transfer into the kayak and then it just kind of slides you into the water and then you come back and it takes you out of the water. And
yeah, it's incredible.
But then if you go to the lake, you'd have, and I'm kind of exploring in my mind, here, about how to do it independently. Because, it's not always that you can find somebody,
right,
that
to
wants
be there with you to help and assist.
Whether it be biking or anything, so that independent component is something that always kind of strive to overcome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
How do they get a hold of you to participate in some of these sporting?
Yeah, so via our website, www.angelcitysports.org, all of our information is there, from the monthly clinics to the premier events. In all of these programs, we're able to provide free coaching. Another component of what we do is a loaner equipment program. I think we pride ourselves in probably having a pretty robust sport equipment inventory from different sports chairs to platforms in throwing and track and field. And so if anyone is ever in need of a tennis wheelchair, anything of that nature, again, can connect with us on our website. We can meet up and get them fitted, figure out what works so that they can have access to a sports chair, which often insurance doesn't cover and is also very expensive. So we're focused on the new athlete, those kind of at the beginning, not sure that sport is possible for them or just not having, the right resources or equipment. So we want to be able to provide that so they can start and explore their journey in sport.
And I'm sure you're fully aware of this, that, they can be so helpful in that journey, post-injury. Adaptive sports kind of helps them move along.
Absolutely.
With their mental health too, right? Yeah. A lot of people maybe that mostly they come for recreation, but then they find they love it. They're very competitive and they want to take that next step. So you can kind of help with that process.
Yes. So we currently have 2 teams. So we have a wheelchair football team and the women's wheelchair basketball team. So our goal in the fundraising that I'm focused on is to try to create the next journey after recreation in each sport having a more competitive option. So we're hoping that we could potentially start adaptive golf team. And again, an adaptive...
We didn't really talk much about golf, but there's some really incredible, equipment involved with adaptive
And so in these
golf.
Adaptive sports, in order to compete, there's not a lot of teams in every city, so it requires travel. So ensuring that we have the funds so that teams can compete and
that's another barrier right there, travel.
So I think that's another part of what we want to provide at Angel City for those that are excited and want to go beyond the recreation level. We're super grateful, and our co-founder is Ezra Freck, who is a 18-year-old Paralympian in track and field. And so we can't promise that we're going to produce a bunch of Paralympians, but it's great to have someone like him who can model and show what's possible. And we hope through our work that some Paralympians come out of our program in terms of having the passion and spirit to compete and represent the U.S.
And speaking of that passion and spirit, that's one thing I've learned from doing this podcast is, if you have that passion for sports, just because you had an injury doesn't mean that is extinguished.
Correct.
It is there. And, a lot of times people are seeking that out and seeking ways of doing it now that they need adaptive sports.
And I think that's what's so great with Triumph Foundation. This event, what we do at Angel City and our premier events is all the sports are possible. They just need a few adaptations or different pieces of equipment. But we've got competitive rugby happening right here.
Outside.
We've got archery, people hand cycling. So it's all possible. Just being able to provide the venues, the spaces, the equipment to see people's talent shine.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being part of your organization that's making all that happen. I think you said the website.
Yes.
If not, we'll make sure we're going to put it on our resource page.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have a resource page with everybody, and I think there's some new ones coming out of this weekend, so we'll do that. But
Fantastic.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you for stopping.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
I think we might be getting this live thing down when we go out and go to a site and do interviews. Thanks to my friend Forrest Kelly. He's helping us out. I just set up somewhere and interviewed people while he went out and grabbed them and brought them in. We were doing one right after another. So got to bring you all the highlights from the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival on Walk and Roll Live this week. Next up, we're going to talk archery.
I'm MJ Rogers, and I am a contractor for USA Archery, the governing body of archery in the U.S.
There obviously must be an adaptive component to it, or you wouldn't be here.
That's correct. They are a part of the Paralympic movement. They furnish and they assist with adaptive archery from all levels, grassroots, kids, Triumph Foundation, all the way through to Paralympians.
So there's obviously, many, many different kinds of disabilities. So does it follow that there are many, many different kinds of archers?
There absolutely are.
Yeah.
And the archery, because it is so adaptive, that anyone can shoot a bow, from severe CP to those with one arm or no arms or stroke victim. And that's that's a bad connotation, just like disability is a bad connotation.
Yep.
I coach athletes that do things that I cannot do, and they keep me humble.
Every time there's some new, because like again, I say there's so different, between not only disabilities, but within the same disability, there's so many differences, right?
That's so true.
So you're having to adapt the equipment all the time. So I imagine, has there been one that's been particularly challenging, or?
There are, and yet it has a similarity to it in that the sport itself requires adaptations, just like any other sport. I'm going to have a set of golf clubs fitted to me, so I'm adapting golf clubs. I have to have a bow and arrow fitted to me, so from the outset, regardless of my ability, I have to adapt. And this is just on a grander scale. And the learn for a coach or an instructor is to begin to think with everybody that you work with outside the box. How can I make this easier? How can I make their performance better? How can I make them more successful?
Within the different abilities, are there different categories? Now, are there disabled archers that also compete with able-bodied?
There have been. And on the Paralympic stage, there's just been a random few. There's actually one woman from the Republic of Iran that competed in Rio in both the Olympics and the Paralympics. But she's unusual. On the world stage, archers will often do just that. At able-bodied events, a para-archer, they are toe-to-toe with anybody else that's out there.
This weekend's purposes, we're here at the Triumph Wheelchair Sports Expo. What were you doing here, introducing people with disabilities to archery?
Absolutely. We had a mix of those that had shot before, and we had those that had never drawn a bow before. And the apparatus and or just the base that I have been fortunate to have is that regardless, anybody that comes up there is going to shoot a bow.
Yeah.
And they're, in most cases, able to hit a target on a pretty consistent basis. And again, the function, I don't care.
Yeah.
You just come and we'll figure it out.
We'll make it work.
That's right.
I like it. What was Forrest was telling me to make sure I ask you about something. What was it?
One of the gentlemen that I have coached for a number of years was born without arms.
Okay.
So he was adopted as an Amish family as an infant, and on a farm in Iowa. I call him an Iowegian, and because they said from the outset, the world's not going to adapt to you, so you're going to figure it out. And he has just done that, in that he was in the throes of trying to feed his family and said, if I had a bow, I could go deer hunting. And so he went and bought a secondhand bow. It was absolutely a piece of junk. And from that point, he has been on the world stage. He's been to 3 Paralympic Games thus far. Paris might be his 4th. He's going to do some commentary at the Olympic Games. He's a motorhead, loves cars. A bit of a crazy man, but loves cars. So he got his NHRA certification this past summer. So he's driving a dragster.
Wow.
The armless archer.
So he's feeding himself with the bow, but probably in a different way than he intended.
That's correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He does motivational speaking. He has the Guinness World Record for the longest accurate archery shot, over 310 yards. And just feeds off of that energy.
Yeah.
Kind of drives me nuts occasionally.
Say his name one more time.
Is Matt Stutzman. Yep, the armless archer.
I got to look this up. I got to see some of this.
Yep. A little plug. After Rio, a group of the Paralympians put together a documentary called Rising Phoenix that's available on Netflix. Very enlightening.
We'll have to look for that as well. So you're an archer, I imagine, yourself, right?
Years ago, and people ask me if I shoot now, and I said I only shoot if I have to prove a point. so it primarily recreational for me right now.
Good. Well, I appreciate you coming out today and sharing, your passion with everybody else. Where can they get a hold of your organization?
USA Archery, again, is the national governing body. Their offices are in Colorado Springs. And it's usaarchery.org.
Thank you for coming by, MJ. We appreciate it.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Walk and Roll Live.
I come from a family of 3 brothers that have cerebral palsy like me, but their stages are slightly different than mine.
I think within the first 5 to 10 minutes in the neurologist's office, he knew exactly what he was dealing with.
They picked me up. I was like, heck yeah.
Nice.
See, 2 grown men struggle doing that.
And nowadays we really want to focus on noticing these characteristics at an early age, because the earlier you get help, the better.
Walk and Roll Live. Disability stories. Like, follow, and subscribe. Life. Limitless.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
And finally, we had a chance to talk with Mobility Professionals. You might remember that name. I mentioned them a few weeks ago. I ordered my new wheelchair and Smart Drive through them. They were there, kind of the unsung heroes of the Triumph Foundation Wheelchair Sports Festival. They were set up there with a repair station, and they were fixing wheelchairs all day long, changing tires and making adjustments for everybody that was playing rugby and basketball and you name it. They even tried to kind of fix my old Smart Drive, which has been having an intermittent problem where it turns on and off. So they were downloading new firmware and seeing if that would solve the problem. So we did get a chance to talk with them. It'll be the last of our interviews from the festival. And then we have one more for you.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Cepeda. I am an ATP for Mobility Professionals. We are a DME company. We specialize in complex rehab equipment, custom wheelchairs, manual chairs, bathroom equipment. We are located in Lake Forest, California. Right now we have 2 locations currently, and we service pretty much all of Southern California. We cover a wide range, and we take pride in our customer service. Being able to pick up the phone, and I like, one of the biggest complaints we get in our industry is that you call someone and you can never get a hold of anybody.
Yeah.
But we take pride in the type of service that we provide. That's what we do.
And I can vouch for that. Full transparency, I'm in the process of getting a Tie-Lite wheelchair and a new Smart Drive through Mobility Professionals. And Carlton has come out to my house. Actually, it started with a repair. I needed the front casters on my wheelchair adjusted and repaired. I was getting a wobble, and it was above my skill level to get it fixed. So he came out. And then actually one of the gals on the phone, I don't know if it was Maribel or who I was talking to. And
probably Maribel or maybe Jennifer.
Yeah, and she was saying, you need a new chair? And I'm like, no, I just need to get this fixed. And then the more as I looked at my chair, I'm like, yeah, I need a new chair. So, so we're in the process. I'm getting excited. I think we're a month or so out from taking delivery.
We do service on both power and manual wheelchairs. But when we come out to someone, I'm usually, that's how a lot of things happen. We take a look at the overall condition of the chair, because someone may call and say, well, I just need tires, or I just need a cushion. And we go out there, we take the information of the chair, and we can determine whether, maybe it's time for a new one. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, and you do in-home. I mean, this was in my home repair, so you don't have to, especially if there was a chair that needs a repair, it's not really working to take it down somewhere to get it fixed.
Yeah. In addition to service, and even when we provide new equipment, we also provide loaners. So if we can't do the repairs immediately, or we know that the process of getting a new piece of equipment may take several months, we try to accommodate for that need and provide loaners, obviously as we can.
Yeah.
We can't provide one for every single client.
Right.
But sometimes we have clients who have a power chair and they're completely just out of service.
Yeah.
And so in order for them to continue their daily living, we try to accommodate that need.
Yeah, that's awesome. So is it power and manual
Power
chairs?
and manual.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What other services?
I
know you're doing repairs today.
We do repairs.
Right?
We do service. We do, obviously, providing the equipment.
Yeah.
Custom manual, custom power, specialty bathroom equipment, transfer chairs, sliding tub transfer systems. We also do ramps. We do a lot of pediatrics as well.
Okay.
So it's a wide range. One thing we try not to focus on is standard equipment, oxygen, hospital, things like that.
Gotcha.
So we specifically focus on the complex rehab equipment. That way we can all our efforts go into that instead of trying to worry about the standard equipment.
Gotcha. And one of the big helpful things that Mobility Professionals did for me is because I looked and I searched for a while to find a company that knows the whole process of getting this taken care of, getting the new equipment under Medicare. So they've been very helpful in walking through the whole process, knowing, the paperwork they need. They contacted my doctor, to get the signatures that I need from them. So, yeah, that's a big help. So if you're looking for somebody and haven't been able to find somebody, mobility professionals can help you out.
Thank you. Yeah, we do take a lot of pride in our staff and the knowledge that our staff brings to the table.
So how do we get a hold of mobility professionals? Probably a website?
Yes, mobilityprofessionals.com.
Okay.
Our toll-free number, you can reach us at 844-865-2814.
All right.
And again, we're located in Lake Forest. That's our main office. But we're growing quite fast, I might say. So we are spreading. So we do cover LA, Orange County. We go as far as Blythe at times.
Wow.
So we also cover the Inland Empire and obviously Ventura County sometimes. But we are all over the place, and we will come to you.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for everything you did this weekend. You guys have been out there working on wheelchairs the whole day I've been here. So,
well, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We'll see you again soon.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories.
As we finish interviews from our live events this week, live events that we've been to in the last couple of weeks, our final interview is with Anthesis and the new CEO over there, which actually I'm a board member, so very involved with them. And we had a chance to catch up with her at Brewabilities. Her name is Sean Prokopek. I think she's been with us about a year and a half now. This will be our final interview in today's episode of Walk and Roll Live.
2 years in May, yep.
Yeah, there was some wonderful changes that you've brought and changed the whole culture of Anthesis. And, we're seeing such great things, and we have such a great vision for the future as well. So can you tell our listeners what it is that Anthesis has done? I know you've been on before, and we talked about the rate increase and all those things, but I don't know if we had a real opportunity to kind of go over the different programs that we provide.
Sure. So Anthesis serves about 300 adults from San Gabriel Valley all the way to Jurupa, Fontana, Alta Loma, so big portion of San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
And we provide services support to adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, so like autism, Down syndrome, helping them live independent and inclusive lives. So some of our folks, we provide help in the community so that they get out and experience what's in the world around them, learning how to use transportation, money management, learning how to cook, and then we also have a lot, probably I would say about 150 of our participants are volunteering all over Inland Empire. So they're volunteering at other nonprofits, getting some job experience while they volunteer. And then we have about 80 individuals who are working in our community at above minimum wage jobs all over the city, or all over the county, I should say. And we provide job coaching so that they're able to learn the job in a safe and supportive environment until they're accustomed to their job skills and their coworkers and feel more secure in being on their own at work.
Get some confidence going.
Yeah.
So what are some big success stories within that? Maybe some big changes that you've seen in somebody that you didn't think maybe would ever be able to get out there and be in a situation where they were employed in that environment, where they've gotten that confidence now to be.
Well, I think two really big successes this year are Bianca and her brother, who are attending Mount Sac, so going to community college.
Wow.
And so we started a special program just for them, which is picking them up from home, getting them to college, being with them on campus, and then helping them as a tutor so that they can pass their classes and do the work that they need to do and then send them home. That's a brand new program that was specifically created for them. And so these are the kind of things that we're looking to do. We've started a computer class. So those who are interested in learning more about computers, safety, how to create a TikTok channel, how to make videos, those are things that we're working on right now. Because there is a big population that wants to work and learn more about computers and tech.
Excellent.
So we're obviously in a fundraiser today, Brew Abilities, and you've got multiple fundraisers throughout the entire year. So you just started this program for these two individuals or the one individual?
Two individuals.
So both of them, the brother and sister. Right. So that costs X amount of money just for that one program.
Correct.
Say $1,000. So you've got to come up with a charity and funding to find for that, correct?
Correct. We do get funding from the government.
Right.
However, our current funding only covers about $14 an hour for our staff.
Okay, so there's the drum roll.
Greatly underfunded.
$14, yeah.
Which is why we need to fundraise.
Yes.
Because we're paying our staff a livable wage.
Yeah.
We're paying a good salary for our staff because they need to live also.
Yeah.
So that's why we have to do fundraising, because we don't receive enough reimbursement from the government for the programs that we operate.
So as the leader of this organization, you have to be nervous to take that, say, hey, we're going to do this for these two individuals. But knowing that you've got, because it takes all this funding to do it, you've got to say, man, how do we do it?
Yeah.
You've got to really work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a risk, but we have to try and figure out new ways for adults with disabilities to interact in the community. 40 years ago, 50 years ago, they were locked in state institutions. They had
That's reality,
right?
yeah.
They had no interaction in community. They didn't live at home. People believed they couldn't do anything. And that's not how, we all know that that's not true.
No.
They're fulfilling jobs that are needed in the community. When neurotypical people had to stay home because their kids weren't in school and they had to take care of them, or they were afraid to go to work, the community of adults with disabilities are the ones who filled those jobs.
Really?
We saw a 40% increase in job placements at our agency. And this
good for
year,
you.
we had to hire another job developer because at all times we have 15 adults waiting to get work on our wait list. So the desire and the acceptance by the community to have adults with disabilities working is just growing. And people are realizing they're no different than you and I.
Yep.
They've got some different abilities, but they have the same dreams that we all do. They want to work. They want to earn money. They want to be in the community. They want to be social. So we just need to provide them with support.
So
there's some risk taking that has to happen.
And they're reliable. My wife has a job today and 5 people didn't show up.
Correct.
So she's the only one there. It's like, what? Who doesn't show up? These people are so dedicated to their jobs, so acceptable.
Yeah. You have to tell them to go on vacation.
Yeah.
They won't go on vacation. And they come to work with a smile on their face every day. They're so happy to live life every day. I mean, we all should take a lesson
Absolutely,
from them.
yeah. That's one of the things I think we've learned from our employers, just how valuable they are. They will notice things in their job and bring it to the employer's attention. And at first, they've been reluctant and say, well, no, this person can't identify that problem. And sure enough, they've identified a problem that their other, able-minded employees didn't notice.
Right. And the change in culture.
Yeah.
Again, because they come to work every day with a smile on their face. The other employees, how can you not get a little bit more happy about coming to work when you see someone who doesn't have the same abilities of you and is been determined disadvantaged, come to work so happy and do their job very well.
Yeah. So if there's a prospective employer that's listening right now, what do you find is the biggest stigma that an employer has that says, I don't think your organization can fulfill our labor need for this? And you go, hey, what are you talking about?
I think they just don't understand. I mean, I think for a lot of them, they think, well, if we hire someone with disability, then I'm going to need to pull manpower to train them, because it does take them longer to train and learn a specific job task, right?
Yeah.
But when they find out that there's a job coach, that actually relieves their training, because you train the job coach and then the job coach is the one training our participant.
Gotcha.
So it actually relieves their labor issues, because our job coach, and they get the job coach for free. The cost is covered through our contract. So they actually get another employee who's training and supervising them.
Yep, which helps down the road. If they've got any problems, they can say they've already trained them for that job. They know to help them out.
And then there are some tax benefits. So employers don't know that there's tax benefits for hiring someone with a disability. So there's just a lot of unknowns that people don't know about.
Before we let you go, too, I wanted to know, what's the vision that you have? I know you're somebody that you're looking down the road. Is it a program or a revenue stream, or what do you think?
Well, big picture would be to create a self-sustaining business that our participants could work at. and that they can come to work every day, and we have our own business. So we're not relying on money from the government. We're making our own money through this business, and we can pay our participants. That's a big picture, but I've never started a business, and so we have some work to do there, and we need to identify what's a business that's needed in the Inland Empire. So that's going to take some time. So yeah,
awesome.
But that's a big picture.
And then
go ahead.
Just for anybody that wanted to come out to Brewabilities or is hearing this message for the first time and couldn't get out, what's a way that they can help with the funding?
Sure. So you can donate. We have a website, www.brewabilities. You just go on there and there's a donate button and you can donate. Get on our Facebook page so you see when we're having other events. We have our annual picnic coming up on June 7th. We need volunteers for that. We have 350 people between our participants and our staff. So we always need help at that event. And, if you're interested in having a fundraiser, you can go on the website, send a message. It comes straight to me, and I'll get back to you. Or our phone number is 909-624-3555.
Beautiful.
As a vendor, I can speak for as a prospective vendor down the road for this picnic you're talking about or future events. Ladies and gentlemen, she's very hands-on. As soon as I got here, she introduced herself to me, didn't know who I was, and I've seen you throughout the day walking around, interacting with all of the participants. We're out in a huge equestrian center, and there's like 1,000 people here. You're weaving through the crowd. So as you're doing that and you're checking, making sure everybody's happy and got what they need, whether it's power or whatever, a drink or what have you, you're making sure of all that. But what gives you the biggest pleasure and the biggest smile internally when you do all of this today?
Well, one, the support that we receive, right? The community, the breweries, and all the vendors who have come out to support us and have done it 3 years in a row. But, seeing my participants over there selling their crafts, selling their own stuff. Some of them are even out here beer tasting. That gives me the biggest, because there has been this stigma that they don't drink beer and they shouldn't drink beer. And so having them be out and walking around is helping the rest of the community and the rest of us learn that they're just like everybody else, and get rid of those stigmas, right? So that really makes my day. But the support that we have at this event is just tremendous, and we couldn't do it without all of these breweries and wineries and everybody wanting to participate. So
it's been a great time today.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I like this. This is exciting. We've never had a podcast at this event.
Yeah.
So this is, it's also really fun, trying something new. So we appreciate you wanting to do this with us.
Exciting news, folks. We've spiced up Walk and Roll Live with a fantastic new feature on our website that's bound to elevate your podcast experience. Ever fancied having a lively chat about our episodes as if you were chatting with your best buddy? Well, guess what? Now you can. Our episodes have gone interactive, eagerly awaiting your questions and banter. Dive into a chat with our podcast and let's spark some engaging conversations.
Give it a whirl and drop us a line with your thoughts.
Check out these awesome features.
Check it out at walkandrolllive.com.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
So a lot of great information from a lot of great organizations, and I thanked everybody, sent an email off immediately after the weekend, and said thank you, and sent them a copy of their interview, and and invited them to do some more collaborations, maybe come on and interview them, and also want to hear about some of the events they were talking about. So hopefully they'll be able to send us that information, and we can put it up on our events page on walkandrolllive.com. And also, they can kind of keep us up to date on the events that they're having, and we can tell everybody about it, and maybe visit those events as well, and get some more interviews with some of the organizations, and it'll just keep kind of growing. It's like that drop a pedal in the pond, and the ripples just keep going out. What do you got coming up?
Oh, me? Well, next weekend I'm graduating from the Leadership and Management School for the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and then on the 12th I'll be doing a emergency preparedness for the local Loma Linda Possibilities. It is open to caregivers and all members of Possibilities. We're still working on, getting that to be for even non-members in the near future.
All righty. Well, once again, thank you again, and also want to encourage you to like, follow, subscribe, whatever the platform, however they put it on your format and your platform of choice. And I also want to just one more time want to invite you, if you would like to tell your story, if you haven't had the opportunity to tell your story like we were talking about in more of a long form, and you think that your experience might help others, or maybe even help you by telling that story, we'd love to share it here. Or if you know somebody you think would like to do that, or you think would be a good story for us, just drop us a line at warlive@walkandrolllive.com. All right, we'll let you go. Have a great week. We'll see you next time. Thank you for listening.
So long, folks.